Just a note with that. Oh, sorry, someone just emailed me about not getting into the meeting. Please don't mark it as a good or service fee because Venmo does take a portion of it when you do that. So just send it as a normal Venmo like you would your friends. But we're not trying to cause any financial hardship for anyone. So please, if you cannot afford this, reach out to us. And with that, any money that is left over after we paid the registration fee will be used for decreasing. It will be, so it'll be for this upcoming year basically. So if you could pay it now, so that way we can get the club re-registered for next year, that would be amazing. But any leftover money will be used for, oh, thank you for the Venmos, will be used for senior stoles, for socials, that kind of stuff, to decrease the cost on that. So you will be getting like a return on your money, I guess. But yeah, that's kind of it for that. Okay, now for exec board applications. So we do have 4 positions that are opening up this year, or for the next school year. We have treasurer, executive outreach chair, the president's assistant, and a co-tech chair position available. I'll go through all of these, and then I will also send in the chat if it will. There we go. Oh, no, okay.
Oh, Claire, someone was wondering about the fee for this semester, or are we going to implement it next semester?
So it would be like this semester type of thing, like pay now and then we'll re-register the club, but then all of the funds that are left over will be used next semester and next year. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's see. Let's see if I don't know what you guys can see at the moment, but I'm just going to copy and I'm going to pay. No, there are no stoles for this semester, unfortunately. Our previous president did not purchase them, and I didn't know about them until it was too late to get them here before graduation. So unfortunately, there are none for this semester. But I just sent in the chat the link to the Google form for the applications for exec board. So basically, the treasurer, your responsibilities will be maintaining club funds, working with the EOC for payment for socials, contacting ASUA, and filling out any audit type forms. I technically am the treasurer right now because that was my position before I took over for our president. So I can absolutely help you out with that stuff. And then as you have a, guys, please mute yourself. As we do have a club fee now, your responsibility will be maintaining those funds, and I can work with you to figure out what a good way to take care of that will be. And then executive outreach chair is a new position that we have that we're starting. And the EOC really will have 2 main roles. The first one will be organizing, planning socials. I know that was something that a lot of our members had expressed interest in this year. I unfortunately, just between presidential responsibilities, school, and work, did not have time to do that. So we're hoping to get an EOC in order to do those things. And then you'll be kind of the backup to myself as well as my assistant for organizing guest speakers. You probably won't have much to do with that, but if neither of us can contact someone, you would be the next in line to help out with that. And then the assistant to the president, I'm really looking for someone who can just help me out with tasks for the club. This last semester, I've spent a lot of time reorganizing the stuff that we do have for the club, and the club is growing really fast. So I would like an extra set of hands just to help out with that stuff. So you'll be doing things like checking emails and responding to them, organizing meetings, mostly like research. I have a spreadsheet for schools and a spreadsheet for specialties, which lists all of the information for the slides on them. So helping me get more data for those spreadsheets to make it easier to create the slides for meetings. You'll also be my second hand in contacting guest speakers and any other tasks that I might need help with. I will say with this position, if you do apply to it, this is one that will have a little bit of work over summer. And that's just contacting potential guest speakers. I promise you, it's not a lot of work. I myself am doing an out-of-state internship this summer, and absolutely there's plenty of time to still do lots of other things. This should not take more than a couple hours out of your summer, to be honest. But that is something to keep in mind. And then our last position that's open is the co-tech chair. And the reason why we have a co-tech chair position opening is because Dakota, our lovely tech chair at the moment, is graduating in the fall. So this person would work with him and he would train you up to become the tech chair and take over the next semester. Really, your responsibilities would be to work on the website, upload meeting recordings and slides, work on social media platforms, and occasionally you might send emails out to the club. So now that all of that is done, basically, if you are interested in applying, you apply through the Google form that I sent in the chat, and then include your resume. You can select multiple positions that you're interested in, and then just a quick description of why you think you'd be a good fit for each position that you select. You will only be chosen for maximum of one position, but you can absolutely express interest in multiple. The form will be open until May 1st. At that point, it will close. And then current exec board will review the applications. We will contact you for an interview. There is a spot on the form for you to include your phone number and email so we can contact you. And then final decisions will be sent shortly thereafter. Are there any questions about anything that I've talked about so far? I know it was a lot of information. Okay, I'll keep going.
Oh, someone's raising their hand.
Yeah, I can't see that, so thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, so I had a question. I know at least in like another club that I'm in, we have to like every time we go to a meeting, you have to like fill out a Google form. I haven't seen that at least for this club. So do you guys like take attendance based on if we were in the Zoom or something to know if we participated?
Yeah, so okay. So the way we do it is Cassie is our secretary, and at the beginning of the meetings, she goes through and writes down everyone's name to keep track of who's here. And she kind of keeps an eye out for people who trickle in late. And also if you can ever not attend a meeting, if you send an email to us just saying like, hey, like I have class, I have work, like I can't make it today, whatever the reason is, we mark you as excused and it counts the same as you being here.
Okay. That's all the question I had. Thank you.
The interviews are over Zoom. Resend the link for the Google form. Yeah. Let me know if it doesn't work. My computer's obviously having issues today, but yes. So interviews will be over Zoom, just like the club meetings are. And we will work with you to find a time that works to do the interview, and they won't be long interviews. But yeah. Okay, moving on. Club meetings for next year. So as you all know, currently our club meetings are the first and third Wednesday of every month, the first Wednesday. Next year, they're going to be moving to the first and third Wednesday. And the reason for this is that we really want to bring in more guest speakers for you guys. For instance, our meeting at the end of this month is with a person from the admissions of Creighton University, which is a brand new PA program opening up in Phoenix. So we're trying to get, and I'm in contact with a few different schools right now to get someone from admissions to come in and talk to you guys, as well as current PAs in a ton of different specialties. So we really want to have you guys get that experience with talking and networking with current PAs, but we don't want to take away from your time learning about different schools and specialties, because that is a very valuable part of this club. So one meeting of the month will be schools and specialties, and one meeting will be for guest speakers. So that's kind of the update on that. And then attendance. So for this semester, we will be removing people from the listserv who did not meet the attendance requirement. This is not meant to be like a bad thing. We're just trying to encourage more participation within the club. Again, if you can't make the meetings and you send in your excuse, you're fine. Don't worry about it. We're here for you guys to help you guys learn about PA schools and specialties and network and that kind of stuff. And so we really want you guys to be participating in the club. So we will be removing people, and we will still require attendance next year as well, but same rules apply. Send in your excuses if you can't attend for any reason and you'll be fine. Also, I have the chat up, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to stick it in the chat at any point. But yeah, because I can't really see people raise their hands. Okay, next thing, there is a group me now for this club. Let me get that link.
Oh, I can send it real quick. I have it called.
Okay, awesome. If you join the club in the middle of the year, do not worry about it. It only counts for the meetings that you are technically a part of the club. So I did get a message about that. Don't worry about that whatsoever. So that's the link for the group me. Feel free to join that. This link, as well as the link for the applications form, will be sent out in a recap email after this meeting, in case you don't get it. So the group me is just for easier communication between you guys and the exec board and other people in the club. Feel free to use it for whatever you need. But on days like today where my Zoom isn't working, that would be helpful. So yeah. Okay, so the first school that we're going to go over is the University of Colorado. CU is located in Denver. The duration of the program is 27 months. The cost of it is about $132,000. So it is a little bit on the pricey side, although you'll find that most PA schools are. They also have a very low acceptance rate of 2.13%. They require 3 recommendation letters, a minimum GPA of a 3.0. They do not require the GRE, MCAT, PACAT, anything like that. That is one big pro to this school. They only require your Casper score, which it's not like a test. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's a lot easier than the GRE or anything like that. They also don't require any PCE hours, which is really nice. However, the caveat to CU is that you really have to be a bio major or have a bio minor for this school to be an option for you. If you're like myself and you're a public health major or something else, this one might not be the best for you. And the reason why is because of the science courses they require. They require 8 units of chemistry, which isn't too bad. Only one of them has to have a lab. And the thing is the biology. They require 14 units. One has to have a lab, but 6 units have to be upper division biology courses. So that's why like you really need to have a bio minor or bio major, because it can be a little difficult to get those upper unit courses. And then they require 6 units of anatomy and physiology. It did not say that they required labs for that. Saying, yeah, I guess genetics doesn't have a lab, but my rule of thumb is take the lab if you can, because it never hurts to have more than the minimum required amount of labs, but it will hurt if you don't meet their minimum. Genetics, they require 3 units, psychology 3 units, and statistics 3 units. So. And then the other school that we're going to go over is South University. South University is located in Savannah, Georgia. It is also a 27-month-long program. Its cost is about $99,000. They do require 3 letters of rec, and one has to be from a physician, PA, or NP that you worked for, which is interesting because you'll see that they don't require any PCE. But basically, you're not going to meet your rec letter requirements if you don't have PCE. So, and then minimum GPA required is a 3.0, and they do require the GRE. As for courses they require 2 chemistry courses with labs, 2 bio courses with labs, 2 anatomy physiology courses, or like the way U of A does it, 1 semester anatomy, 1 semester physiology. They do require microbio, 1 course with the lab, and organic chemistry or biochemistry. You don't have to take both. And the lab is recommended, but it is not required. So does anyone have any questions about the schools that I can maybe answer?
Oh, I actually had one about the last school. I know like obviously there's like all the biology like MCB or like ECOL, that's like the first name of the course. But like for example, like I'm a neuroscience major and like one of my classes is like molecular and cellular biology of neurons. Like, do you know if they would take that if it's like in the name of the course, or does it have to be like from like the biology like section, if that makes sense?
You know, that's a tough one. Those are kind of questions that you're going to want to reach out to the individual schools and double check.
Mm-hmm.
My gut is to say that it will count.
Yeah, because it's upper division too, so it's like a 3.
Yeah, and it is biology focused. So I would say that I think it would count, but that really is a question that you would want to contact the admissions program and be like, hey, like I took this class, but I was wondering if it would count for your prereqs.
Okay, cool. And also for genetics, I know there's like, I've heard like 320 is really hard.
Yes, it is.
But
I took it last semester.
yeah, but I feel like I remember someone saying there's also another one that's like, I think it's like 223 or something. Like, do
Okay.
you think that would be just like fine to take? I don't, because I'm like debating because I'm like, they don't really know what's
As long
offered
as it's
here.
genetics still count.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
The only time that they care about the numbers is if they require it to be upper division, which for
Yeah.
CU, they don't require genetics. I mean, I don't think any school requires an upper division genetics just because genetics isn't like a specialty science that you would take. So, yeah, the only time that the numbers really count is when it's requiring upper division.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, we're going to move on. If you do, feel free to speak up or throw something in the chat. Okay, so there's a chat. Okay, so someone asked if you take a course online. This person said they're specifically taking 320 online, and do you know if it's applicable to PA school? For CU, yes, because they do accept online labs, which is really nice considering COVID. However, some schools don't, and that also counts for the general science courses. South University slide, yeah, there it is. So that's something that you're going to want to figure out what your top schools are. That's actually something that exec had thrown out as a possible social for next year, was helping you guys create a spreadsheet to figure out your top schools. But you're going to want to figure out what your top schools are and then go to their websites and look up the prereqs. Usually when you look up their prerequisites page, it will tell you if they accept online courses and or online labs. A lot of them, I'd say, do accept the online course. It's more of the lab that's kind of iffy whether or not they accept it. I myself am taking online sciences like biochem and stuff. So I'm not applying to schools that don't accept online ones. So that's just something to think about. But we good? You got what you need from the South University slide? Cool. Okay, so now we're going to go over the pediatric specialty. Pediatrics, the average entry level salary, so like your first year working as a pediatric PA, is about 100K. And then can you repeat what you said about the online? Oh, yeah, some schools do not take online courses. However, some do. Most schools, though, made an exception for, I believe it was spring 2020 to summer 2020 year because of COVID. However, many schools have gone back to only requiring in person. That's more so for labs, though. Online courses, though, most schools are fine with. It does depend school by school, though, so I would look up the schools that you are interested in, and they will give you more information. Sure thing. So as a pediatric PA, once you've been working for a few years, then the average job salary is about 149K. Obviously, that does change by state, but that's nationally what the averages are. As a pediatric PA, your job roles would be update patient medical history, perform tests, diagnose illnesses or injuries, and provide treatment. Kind of the general stuff that you would think a pediatric PA would do. They can work in the hospital or in private practice, which is really nice for those of you who don't want to, like me, who don't want to work in a hospital. You can work in private practice. The pros of being a pediatric PA are that you help children. You can find some really, really inspirational patients, especially depending on what you further specialize into peds. You can do general or like I'm in pediatric oncology. So in that field, you can see some really, really inspirational patients. You generally have to be in a good or happy mood, which you'll notice I also put as a con, because for some people, always being super energetic and happy can be a little emotionally exhausting. But for kids, you want to have that happy demeanor because it will help them stay happy as well. And then within pediatrics, like I said, you can specialize further. You can do cardiothoracic, you can do pediatric surgery, you can do general peds, you can do oncology. There's a whole like list of fields that you can further specialize in it. Cons are watching children suffer. When you have that really, really hard case, it can be really hard to separate that in your mind and to kind of deal with it. Also, communication with children can be a little tough because they can't always vocalize what it is that they're feeling. And along with that is dealing with parents, sorry. Parents a lot of times think they know what's best for their child, and a lot of times they do, but also sometimes they don't, and they can be very, very vocal with that. And then, like I said, being in a generally good or happy mood sometimes can be a little emotionally exhausting for people. The next specialty is dermatology. The average salary across the US in dermatology is about 120K. Job roles include evaluating, diagnosing, and treating conditions, both medically and surgically. The surgically applies more to cosmetic procedures than anything, though. You also perform screening exams, preventative care, and education for patients and their families. They can work in a dermatology office, hospital, or other private practice, which is nice. Pros is that a lot of derm PAs have really high job satisfaction. I was doing some research on this, and every single forum that I found said that every derm PA loved their job. However, when you first start out, it is really, really hard to find a job because it is so competitive. And B, the pay sucks. It's really once you have a couple years of experience under your belt that you'll get really good pay. And you can get productivity bonuses for cosmetic procedures, which I was reading some forums, and some PAs were like, I honestly make more in my productivity bonuses than I do in my salary. So that is a bonus to dermatology. Cons, depending on the specialty that you further go into with dermatology, you can work long and odd hours. This more applies if you're working in a hospital than private practice or a dermatology office. And along with that, you can be on call. But like I said, it depends on your specialty. If you go strictly cosmetic, this probably won't happen. It is a competitive specialty. And like I said, you often won't make much for the first couple of years until you have some experience under your belt. Does anyone have any questions about specialties? So that was it, you guys. Reminders, we do have a meeting on April 27th at 5:30 over Zoom. It is not in May because we wanted you guys to be able to have May 4th to study for finals. So it will be April 27th. And like I said, we're having a guest speaker from Creighton University come and speak to us about their new PA program. This is a great opportunity for you guys. So please be present and have questions. And a recap email will be sent out shortly with the exact application link as well as the GroupMe link. If y'all have any other questions, feel free to stick around. If not, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you.